Good morning, good afternoon or good evening, wherever you might be. Let's look at 10 of the most useful functions in Excel. We'll look at them carefully and remember that this particular upload is designed very much for people who are new to Excel and want to learn the functions, and also, let's say, learners. The first one we'll look at is the sum function. Now, the sum function is widely used. It adds numbers, as the name of the function indicates. It works like this. When I want the answer in a particular cell, I click in that cell, and then in the Home tab you'll notice that the Auto Sum button over here in the editing group has a drop arrow next to it. If I click the drop arrow, it shows me the most often used statistical functions in Excel. Let's use the sum function to add the numbers. What Excel does, it guesses that you want to add those cells, and it surrounds its guess with the scrolling marquee. If you're happy with its guess, press Control and Enter, or just Enter. Control Enter keeps you in the same cell, and it has added those numbers. Let's undo that last action, and this time I'm going to delete one of the numbers in that cell in C7. Let's see how Excel works now. I want the answer to all of those, but Excel stops its guess at the first blank cell within numbers or a cell which may contain text. To override its guess, because it has guessed incorrectly, I need to hold down the Control key and then drag down through the extra cells that I want to be included in the formula. I've included the blank cell as well, because if I put a number in there, Excel will automatically adjust the answer for me. So let's see, Control Enter again. This time it has only added those numbers. But if I put that number back and press Enter, it adjusts, because when I held down the Control key I included that cell as well in overriding its guess. So that's how Excel works when you're using the sum function. The average function works in a similar way. If I want the average of the sales, I click the drop arrow and use average. It looks up the column and says, are these the numbers you want the average of? If the answer is yes, then Control Enter, and there it is showing me the answer. Again, if I had deleted that number, it would have stopped its guess at cell C8 and only included C8 and C9, and I would have had to override its guess with the Control key. The count. How many cells have numbers in them? Well, again, I use the count numbers function, the count function. Here it is here. It counts the number of cells that have numbers in them. And if I hold down Control Enter, I see that there are 5 cells with numbers in them. Very handy where you want to find out how many cells do have numbers in them. Let's move on to the if statement, and we'll increase the view here to 125% to make things look a little easier for you. The way I do that is to click on the View tab, zoom, and change the custom number to 125, and you'll notice that that makes things a bit bigger, a bit easier for you to see. Now, what I want to do here is to use if to test if any of the sales are over 45,000, and I want the answers yes or no. The way it works is this. I start in the first cell and I type the formula equals if, open a bracket, and I want to say, is that cell greater than 45,000? Comma. If it is, show me the answer yes. And if you want a test result in text, then you must include the word in double quotes, comma. If it's not, show me the answer no in double quotes, close the bracket, and Control Enter. Now, the answer is no, of course, because the if statement does 3 things. It tests the contents of a cell, it shows me the answer if the test is true, or it shows me another answer if the test is false. Now I'm going to autofill that formula down, but I know that if I have information in the column immediately to the left, then I can simply double click on the autofill button and that shows me the answer. Now you might say, there is a cell with 45,000. Why is the answer no? Because the test was, is the content of the cell greater than 45,000? It is not. It is equal to 45,000. So if I look carefully at that, I see that there are the three arguments: the test, the answer of the test is true, the answer of the test is false. Let's now look at the AND function in conjunction with if. And in this case, our sales goal is 40,000, and I want to know if the sale of 40,000 was achieved if the item was also coats. So what I'm going to do here is to use a formula equals if, and I need to nest the AND function within the if statement using the brackets, and I'm going to say, is this cell greater than 40,000, comma, and D5 equal to, my apologies, equal to, in double quotes, coats. Always remember the double quotes when you have text. Close the bracket. If the answer is true, yes. If the answer is not true, no. And close the bracket. So let's look at the formula. If C5 is greater than 45,000 and D5 is equal to coats, then show me yes, otherwise show me no. Control Enter, the answer is no. Now let's autofill down, just double click because there is data in the column immediately to the left, and there we see that the coats and the sales have been achieved in one cell. The others, even though the sales were greater than 40,000, the item was not coats, therefore the answer was no. So study that formula there. You'll find that the logic is inarguable. We simply said, if those two arguments are true, then show me yes. If one of them is not true, then show me no. In the OR statement, we're going to say our sales goal is 30,000 and the item is shoes. Now what I'm going to say to Excel here is, if either of those is true, then show me yes. So even though the answer will be, for example, hats here and not shoes, hopefully I'll see a yes in here. Let's see how that works. So equal if, open the bracket, but this time we use OR, if that cell is greater than 30,000 and that cell is equal to shoes, close the bracket, then show me the answer yes, otherwise show me the answer no, and close the bracket. The answer is no there because the sales were not greater than 30,000 or the item was not shoes. Let's autofill down, or double click if you wish. Now there are three yeses here. Why are they yes? One, because this fooled both of them. The answer here is yes, achieved, because the sale was greater than 30,000 even though the item was not shoes. Why? Because I said or. That is, only one condition has to be true. Similarly, with the sales for the hats, the answer is yes, because the sales exceeded 30,000 even though the item was not shoes. So OR only needs one of the arguments to be true, one of the tests to be true. Let's now look at one of the very popular functions in Excel, that is VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP enables me to look in a group of cells and show me a resulting number or information in another column. The way it works is this. In the cell in which I want the answer, I type a VLOOKUP formula, equal VLOOKUP, and open a bracket, and I say I want Excel to look up whatever is in that cell and look in the group of information that holds the question and the answer, comma, and in the column that has the answer counting from the left, so 1, 2, the answer is in the second column, so I type a 2, comma, and I use the fourth argument of false because the information that I'm looking up is not in alpha ascending order. Now I close the bracket. Now when I press Control Enter, it shows me bill salary. If I wanted to quickly check another salary, we'll say Mary. I can change the name of the salesperson, and I've got a little drop arrow here because I created a list from these items here to save typing, and I'll say I want to check Mary's salary, Mary, and there it shows me Mary's salary. Just for good luck, let's check Tom's, and there. So I know that VLOOKUP has given me the right answers. Very handy where you're working perhaps in an HR department where people ring up and say, look, what's my current salary, how much tax have I paid, how much is my superannuation worth, etc. VLOOKUP makes that type of information readily available. The payment function. The payment function is designed to give me a payment per month, per year, whatever I need to know by doing this. First of all, I'm going to delete the formula in there to show you all the steps, and now I'm going to use the insert function button, and I'm going to go to the financial category, there it is there, and look for the payment function, which is PMT. There it is there. Click OK. Up pops the function arguments dialog box, and it says which cell is the rate going to be in. Well, the rate is in that cell, but it's an annual rate of 5%, and I want a monthly repayment. So what I'm going to do is to divide the annual rate by 12 to get a monthly rate. The number of periods, I want a 20-year term for my loan, but because I want a monthly repayment, I need to multiply the number of years by 12 to convert that to months. The present value is the amount I wish to borrow, nice and easy, and there are two optional arguments I can use here. The future value is maybe an amount in another cell which I want to use as a balloon payment at the end to refinance a balloon payment. If I want to pay the entire loan off, as I do in this case, then I just leave that blank. The type can be a 1 or a 0. It defaults to 0 because it says you want to make the payment at the end of each month. If you typed in a 1 there, then that would mean you want to make the repayment at the beginning of each month, which would mean your repayment will be a little less because there will be less interest. In this case, I want to make my repayment at the end of each month. Now when I click OK, Excel tells me that there is my answer. If I want to borrow more or less here, I can simply change that maybe to 230,000. What happens to the repayment? Good. What if I wanted to extend the term to 25 years? Good. So Excel works out the repayment for me very quickly. But it shows me that repayment as a negative figure, which I don't particularly like. So we're going to look at the next spreadsheet, which has a positive figure here, but the reason that figure is positive is because I use the absolute function here, ABS, before the payment function. So if I get rid of the absolute function and remove the brackets so the brackets are balanced, then I see that my answer goes back to negative. So all I need to do to make a negative number look positive, but Excel still thinks it's negative in the background, I simply add an absolute function before the payment function, add another bracket at the end to balance, and then Control Enter, and there my negative figure looks positive. Now the last sheet that we'll consider is the one which holds the date function. You'll notice in these two cells that there are dates which are the same. This date here in cell A1, I typed in a formula equal to day and opened and closed the bracket, and I pressed Control Enter. It showed me today's date. That date will change with the computer's clock, so if I save the file and reopen it tomorrow, the 28th of June. In this cell, same date, but what I did, I used Control semicolon. That showed me the date from the computer's clock, but if I save the file and reopen it tomorrow, I'll still see the same date. Dates are more fully explained and how they work in a previous upload, how Excel handles dates. I'll put a link to that file, to that upload in this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe unless you've already done so, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.